All right, you're welcome back. John Giles is live on the line with us. Evening, John.
Nathan.
How's all in England?
As you can see, Nathan, going mad. Going mad.
They certainly
They're coming
are.
home. They're coming home, Nathan.
Yeah. You got the flags outside the house, I presume, have you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I've got my green, white and orange one outside the house.
Good man, good man.
Nobody comes near me.
Well, look, it is almost coming home, and on Sunday night it may well come home. The comparisons will soon be started to made with that team of 1966. Is this England team a team that can compare to that team?
Well, this is the European Championships, as we know, Nathan. You know, that was the World Cup in those days, so it's an even bigger one. Obviously, it's a big one to win for England. They haven't won anything since '66, but I wouldn't compare it with the World Cup, to be honest. Right.
This England team, we've spoken about them a lot over the last month. Have they got better as the tournament's gone on?
I think so, Nathan. Like, mostly the winners are the people who reach the final, grow into the competition, and they've certainly done that. I mean, excuse me, he's played a lot of different teams. They come up trumps for them most of the time, so it's difficult to know in many ways what the team is going to be for Sunday, Nathan. You know, if you go back to the first match they played with the two fullbacks, the next match he played two different fullbacks, then he played three at the back. So it's been there hasn't been a consistency in picking the team. But the big thing he has going for him, Nathan, we might have spoken about this before, is that he's got a lot of very, very good players, and he's got a lot of very young good players. So most of the teams he'd pick, I don't think he's going to be able to pick a bad team with the players he has at his disposal.
There's still a big challenge there for any manager when you have so many good players of actually keeping everybody happy. And Jack Grealish comes on as a substitute, is taken off as a substitute, and just gets on with it. Phil Foden has dropped out of the side, comes on as a substitute, and again, there's no real complaining. So whatever about the tactical side, Southgate seems to have made a connection with these players that for once everybody in the England squad is on the same side.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing to do, and it takes a good lot of management, good management. There's no doubt about that. And I think he has that. You know, I think he's a good individual. I think he's a nice lad. He doesn't get on to the players. He doesn't bark at them, you know, like a lot of managers do. You go back to Mourinho falling out with players. He doesn't seem to do that. I think he's a good guy in that respect, and I think he respects the players, Nathan, and obviously they respect him. But you know, I don't think it's a good way of doing it. Now, that's for me to say, and they're in the final of the European Cup. It's, you know, like my take on it now, when you go in, like, 4 or 5 years now, you get to know your best players as soon as you possibly can, and you play them as much as you possibly can. Now, as you know, from the start, when he started off with the two fullbacks he had in the first match, two different fullbacks in the next match. So I don't think I don't think it's right, but I'm not managing a team, because, like, in my take on football, Nathan, when you have a team, a group of players, and you play them, you put the mistakes. All the little football's made up of a million little things. So if the fullback is doing something wrong, you put that right, and you put the centre backs right. Everybody does something wrong sometime in a match. But like in the first match, for example, they changed to two fullbacks. Well, if you were doing something wrong, the fullbacks in the first match, Nathan, you don't have a chance to put that right. So it's sort of a wing and a prayer going into the next match with two different fullbacks. Now, they are good players, but to really get them playing in the way that you want the players, to cut out the little mistakes that anybody makes, and I don't think you can do that if you're changing the team all the time. But he does have a good group of especially young players in the team, in the squad.
And in an attacking sense, in Sterling and Kane, he has two players of real quality, maybe the two best attacking players in the tournament so far. Like, Sterling took a lot of stick towards the end of the season, dropped out of the Manchester City side, seemed to have a falling out with Pep Guardiola. What have you made of Sterling over the last week in particular in these big matches for England?
I think he's been the best player for England, Nathan. Now, to be honest, I wouldn't have picked him at the start of the tournament. I mean, the way he played for City from Christmas onwards was dreadful, Nathan. Dreadful. So that was good management on Southgate's part, because he probably thought, well, I know him, I know I can get the best from him, which he did. But for his form for City, I thought he was dreadful from Christmas onwards. But he's been the best player in this particular competition. He must have been saving. I don't think Guardiola would be too happy about him, Nathan, to be honest.
Yeah.
In the way he played for City, and then the way he can play, which is the way he's played for England. I think he's been the best player.
What is it that he's doing that makes him so good?
He's trying. He's working hard. He's busy. He's getting in around the goals. I mean, you saw him in the Champions League final tonight, and I was surprised that he put him in for that. He was dreadful. Never tried a leg, in my opinion. So he must have been saving himself for the European Championships. But obviously Southgate is getting the best from him. There's no doubt about that. Whether that suits Sterling or whether it's just the manager getting the best out of him, I don't know. But he has played really, really well.
The Jack Grealish situation then, when Grealish came on as a substitute and was taken off again as a substitute, were you surprised by that, or was it fair enough based on what Grealish, the impact he'd had?
I wouldn't do it, Nathan. Now, I'm only talking about my own opinion. See, the reason he put him back, took him off, was because they were a goal up, and I think he wanted to play the game out. Right? Well, the best way to do that, Nathan, is to have the ball. And there's nobody better at having the ball than Grealish, because he beats players, he gets free kicks, he can slow the game down and do it from that way. And there's nothing wrong with scoring another goal when you're in that position. That's tactics, and I wouldn't agree with that at all. Just because you put a defensive player on, and I think you put a full-back on, that doesn't help you, in my opinion, to defend, Nathan. Get the ball, play with the ball, keep the ball up the other end of the field, and there's nobody better at doing that than Grealish. So, but that's a tactical move as I see it, but I wouldn't agree with it, that's for sure.
On the keeping the ball, the midfield will be really interesting on Sunday night, particularly against this Italian midfield. Like Declan Rice is a player you've raved about over the last year and how his game has progressed, and maybe not just the holding midfielder as he was once seen, that he's able to turn on the ball, he's able to stride forward. We haven't seen much of that from him for England. Is he sort of playing to the manager's tactics, just holding himself back a bit?
I don't think so, Nathan. I don't think at that level that he's that type of player and turning on the ball.
Right.
In relation to Georginio, now playing, who's playing better now than he does for Chelsea, who can turn on the ball as a real midfield player in a creative sense. And so is Verratti in the Italian team. England don't. Phillips can't do that.
And can Rice not do that?
Can't do that, Nathan. He can't do it.
Right.
He can try to do it, and he does his best. But they're two players who are A to B passers of the ball at that level. They don't do it. And that if I was fearful for England, which I'm not, I'd be worried about the midfield situation.
That they just won't be able to control the game.
Well, I think Verratti and
Georginio,
if they were in the England team, I think to be a near perfect team.
Right.
Now, it depends on how the rest of them do. I mean, I think all the rest of the England squad are very, very strong at what they do. Harry Kane and Sterling, as you say, up front, and they've got Foden and they've got Rashford to come in. I mean, they've hugely talented forwards and defenders as well. But it's just that spot in midfield. They don't have that real creative force, in my opinion.
And do you think does Rice have that ability at club level, and it's just that international level is a step up, or it's just not in him?
Well, he doesn't really do it at club level. He's good, Nathan. He's good at what he does. I think he's a terrific player, and he's an all-round midfield player. He's very good defensively, and he's okay. But he's not a Georginio.
Right.
They don't. Georginio's a real midfield player. Turns on the ball, gets back to front quickly. Rice, well, I don't think Rice can do it, and he certainly hasn't done it in this competition, and neither is Phillips. They're good all-round players, up-and-down players, but they're not going to create from the middle of the field. Now, lucky enough for the England team, there have a lot of players around them like Grealish and Foden and Saka, who can get on the ball, just give it to them, and they can do the dribbling. or create. It's a form of creating in the field. But I don't think they can match the Italian midfield for creative play. That would be, if I had a fear for England, that would be the fear that they might be able to control the game from that position.
Do you think then that's why he plays both Phillips and Rice, that because they don't have that ability, having two of them there gives a bit of protection to the defence if they don't control the midfield?
Well, no, I think the problem, Nathan, he doesn't have anybody in the squad able to do that. If you look at the squad, who in the squad would you say is the schemer? They used to call them screamers in my day. There's nobody, Nathan, that can really do it. They don't have a Georginio or a Verratti in the squad. And that's the only. It's sort of weakness. There's no doubt. I mean, if you could put Verratti and Georginio, in my opinion, in the England team, they'd be sensational in that position with the players they have around them. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Rice is a very good player. Phillips is a good player, but they're not capable of doing what Georginio can do and Verratti can do. And sometimes the game is won in the middle of the field. You know. But there again with Italy, you see, Italy don't have strikers like Harry Kane and Sterling. No, they're a bit short up front. That's why it's a fascinating game. They might have more possession of the ball, Italy, but England's still winning. You know.
And that may actually just be the game plan: is let Italy have the ball and use that counter attack with Saka and Sterling and Kane.
But you wouldn't do that.
You
can't do that. You can't give it, let them do it, and then think, well, they don't have so much up front. That's when they surprise you.
Right.
No, your best bet is don't give them that chance. In other words, dominate the middle of the field. Try and dominate the middle of the field, because everything comes from there eventually, you know. So they wouldn't be in a position where they can say, okay, we let them have it, and they're not going to score. That'd be dangerous. That'd be really dangerous.
Let's take a quick break, John, and we'll talk about Italy then in a moment.
Football on Off the Ball.
With Paddy Power's Save Our Game. Donating at least 100,000 to Irish football via England goals this summer. Gamble responsibly. Gamblingcare.ie.
Show me the science.
Proudly sponsored by B. Braun.
With Professor Luke O'Neill.
A News Talk original podcast series focusing on different issues, from the serious to the silly. All explained through science. Catch up on the podcast series at newstalk.com or on the Newstalk app. Powered by Go Loud.
First up, a Go Loud original from Newstalk.
Get all the news you need to start your day with First Up, the podcast that brings you stories, analysis and interviews with the top newsmakers. First Up, available each weekday morning from 7 a.m. on Go Loud.
Subscribe to this podcast for free on the Go Loud app.
Ready to get back into the swing of things? Well, it's officially tea time in Northern Ireland. With some of the world's best golf courses on your doorstep, there's never been a better time to explore while staying local. With tons of great value stay and play packages. Play a few rounds in a historic course, treat yourself to a decadent spa visit, or visit some of the best 19th holes around. Book today to see how Northern Ireland is made for golf, and a whole lot more at discovernorthernireland.com/golf.
If you're all at sea for mealtime ideas, we've landed the answer. Fresh Irish haddock. A delicious, nutritious white fish, and it's so versatile. Like grilled haddock with a salad of baby gem, eggs and crispy bacon. Or spiced haddock with lemon couscous. The perfect summer dish. For more delicious meal ideas, visit boardbeer.ie. And next time you're in the supermarket or fishmongers, look out for Fresh Irish haddock, brought to you by your local fishermen. Fresh ideas, great meals from Board Beer.
Oh, Brady family deli ham, well, it is your only ham. Have it carved as thick or thin, what's your pleasure? Tell the butcher at the counter, Brady family's what you want to take home, cause it tastes like no other. Come out to other hams, come and face me ham to ham. Show them how you're made with mold and added water. And tell them how Brady family ham chased you away from the green and lonely fields of Kildara.
Brady family ham. It's your only ham. Football on Off the Ball.
With Paddy Power's Save Our Game. England's goals total 100k so far for Irish football. Gamble responsibly. Gamblingcare.ie.
You're welcome back. John Giles is live with us this evening. 53106, the text number here on Off the Ball. So it's Italy for England in the final. What did you make of Giorgio Chiellini's behaviour before the penalty shootout and the hugs for Jordi Alba?
I don't know what was going on. I don't think Alba was I think he was surprised. I think was it the toss of the coin? What I could see of it now, the toss of the coin. I think Alba thought he had won the toss of the coin. And Chiellini was saying, no, you didn't. You're not even. He stopped him looking at it. I don't think Alba was too pleased about the situation in relation to what was actually. I think he thought he had won.
Yeah, it certainly seems that way.
What happened, Nathan? Do you think?
Exactly what you said. That perhaps that Chiellini thought that Alba was pulling a fast one at the start, which is why he kind of acted that way. And then I think Alba wasn't too impressed with the hugs and everything that Chiellini was doing.
Yeah, I don't know who was wrong or who was right in it. I don't know whether Chiellini did win the toss. I don't know, but I got the impression he was messing about with Alba. That you're totally wrong. Now you're not seeing properly, or it's not right. But it seemed to be a one-way love affair. I don't think it was a love affair for Alba anyway. That's for sure.
Yeah. Just on the Spanish, Pedro, 18 years of age in the middle of midfield. How good is he?
Very good. Very good. I think he's the real McCoy. I think him and Billy Gilmore. As we see him, Gilmore's gone out to Norwich on loan. Nathan, I think he's the real McCoy as well. And I think this kid is he's very good. I mean, only 18, and he's played more matches than Messi in the league this year, Nathan. So he's able to do it. He's not scared of it. He has the temperament. Certainly has the ability, but he definitely has the temperament as well to do it. He's very, very good. Very good.
Did you think when Morata was going up for the penalty he was going to score?
I wouldn't have put any money on it, Nathan. He's had a really, really bad time apart from the goal he scored, I think, against Croatia. But he's had a terrible time. No doubt about that. But Georginio, who's the one that side-footed in?
Georginio.
I mean, that took some nerve.
Yeah.
That really did take some nerve because, as we know, if the goalkeeper goes the right way there, he'd look a total mug.
Yeah.
Because the goalkeeper would have stopped it with his feet. Good luck to him. It takes a bit of bottle to do it, and he did it. And it was the winning penalty. So there was a lot at stake on it. That's for sure.
Interesting the way you're talking about Georginio there before the break and his qualities, because maybe we haven't always seen them at Chelsea, and I was saying earlier on, maybe our judgment was clouded because of the fact that they ended up moving N'Golo Kante out of his position to accommodate Georginio. Are we seeing a different Georginio in an Italian jersey to what we saw at Chelsea?
Definitely, Nathan. Definitely. I think it's a manager, Mancini, must have got on to me. He's a much better player, a vastly improved player, in my opinion, than the one we see at Chelsea. At Chelsea, he's A to B, gets it, mostly square. Now he's getting tackles in. He's looking forward. I think Mancini got on to him and said, "Look, this is what I expect from you. You have the ability. Now let's see a bit more of it." Because he has improved that whole squad, Nathan, as we know. They haven't lost for 30 odd matches.
Yeah.
So that's what a good manager or coach does. Obviously improves a team, and sometimes if they have the basic ability, improves them dramatically. And I think he's done that type of job. But I think he's definitely done the job on Georginio.
Yeah.
And he's playing well. I mean, this is going to be the big. I'm fascinated to think what will happen in the middle of the field in the final, Nathan.
Because Italy seem to have a little bit of everything in midfield, a bit of variety. Like David Myler, the former Ireland international, was on talking about playing against Marco Verratti and his ability as a midfielder to run at you, to have a couple of step overs in him, to drive it forward 15, 20 yards. There's very few midfielders at the very top level in Europe who do that anymore.
No, he's definitely the manager's definitely him. I'm assuming it's the manager, the coach, or whatever we call him. Mancini has done that, Nathan. They've been very, very good in that position. I mean, it's going to be a great contest because if Italy don't have what England have up front with Harry and Sterling, in that they just don't have it. I think Chiesa is the best chance of a goal, Nathan. So, no matter how well you play, you've got to put the ball in the back of the net. And I think if Chiesa's not doing it, it doesn't look like anybody else can do it. I know a few people have scored for them, but they're not like Kane and Sterling and one or two other players in the English team. So, although that's why I'm looking forward. I think they might dominate in the middle of the field, but won't be able to finish. And England will be the opposite in that way.
They do have the two old heads at the back as well in Chiellini and Bonucci. The dark arts is what we usually call it these days, with what Italy are capable of doing, and diving and maybe throwing themselves around a little bit and wasting a bit of time at a crucial moment. What have you made of Bonucci and Chiellini during this tournament?
They're great. But the thing is about the diving, Nathan, they used to be doing it and well known for it. Everybody's doing it now.
Yeah.
So everybody's got the dark arts in it. But the two defenders, they're terrific. And the goalkeeper's very good.
Donnarumma.
Yeah, very, very good. I think he's only 22, but he's really good. So I would expect them to defend well. They have done traditionally, and in this team they've only, as I said, they've been unbeaten in 32 matches. So they have to be defending well.
Yeah.
So it's just up front. Again, if you could put Harry Kane and Sterling in that team, I'd fancy them strongly to win. But that's not the case. I mean, I think it'll be a very, very good match. I think Italy have a lot going for them in many ways. So have England. Can England control the midfield? I don't know. Can Chelsea score? Can Italy get the goals up front if they have a lot of play? We don't know. So it'll be. I think it'll be a fascinating game.
Did Sterling dive last night?
Well, they all dive, Nathan. They have it off to a tee, and I'd say there was the slightest bit of contact. But when it goes to VAR and if there's the slightest bit of contact, it always looks worse, Nathan.
Yeah.
A lot of people say that was harsh. Certainly if you're an Italian, the Danes would say that was harsh. But it's what happens. The players are absolutely, if you call it good, are brilliant at it. To get the slightest touch, down you go. And I think what happened as well, I think Denmark, the defenders there, at that one defender in particular, I don't know who it was, they got very tired, Nathan. And I think he threw his foot at it a little bit through tiredness. In other words, wasn't making a genuine effort to get it, and then paid the price for it.
I know, John, often when we talk about big occasions, you always make the point to players that, throughout their career, to get to this level, they'll have to have played in big occasions. And even at underage level, it's the biggest match ever when they get to a under-16 or under-18 final or a final trial. And some of these players played in the Champions League final a few weeks ago. But when you look at the atmosphere at Wembley last night, and living over in England, the level of expectation that is there, do you think that is going to be a factor for the English players on Sunday?
I would doubt it. The only person I'd worry about for England would be Pickford. I think Pickford gets uptight. I really do. I mean, he makes some terrific saves, but I don't like his temperament. I don't like his attitude on the pitch, Nathan. In terms of with his colleagues, and they make a mistake, he's jumping up and he's pointing at them and he's shouting. Well, he makes enough mistakes himself.
Yeah.
And it's one thing you want to get into a team, or I always found in a team. If you want to have a go at somebody, wait till you get in the dressing room. Because everybody makes mistakes, Nathan. Everybody. It doesn't matter who it is. And the last thing you want when you make a mistake is some of your colleagues having a go at you, or any colleague having a go at you. And it's not a good sign when you see Pickford doing what he does with other people, because I think it's only covering himself. So if there would be somebody to do what you suggest there and make a mess of it in the final, I would pick Pickford to do it.
As you say, could be an absolute cracker. We'll have a lot to talk about next Thursday, John. If you want, we can send a repatriation flight over on Monday if England do it, and get you back to Dublin so you can get out of it all for a few days. Could be a long few days if they win it.
I won't be watching if England win and bring it home, Nathan. I won't be watching the television. Let's put it that way.
Enjoy it, John. We'll talk to you next week.
And you. Thanks, Nathan. Bye-bye.
If you missed John Giles, you can get it on the OTB Sports app. Busy weekend of sport coming your way once again, and Ireland play USA in the second of 2 home summer tests this Saturday. We want to give you a chance to be there to savour the action. It's with thanks to Guinness, and we have a pair of tickets to give away. So to be in with a chance of winning, just answer this question: who did Ireland famously beat in November 2016 at Soldier Field, Chicago? Text your name and answer to 53106 to be entered into the draw. It's all in association with Guinness. Hashtag Guinness time. Drink responsibly. Visit drinkaware.ie. And if you're not lucky enough to win, don't worry, we'll be live from the Guinness Storehouse this Saturday across all OTB's social channels, where we'll be bringing you pre and post match analysis of Ireland against the USA. Brian O'Driscoll is on the way next.
Listen in the car with Apple CarPlay or Android Auto on the News Talk app. Powered by Go Loud.
Can't wait to hit the Atlantic coast surfing on the massive
800 years of history at King John's Castle. Then you can buy those heels at that lovely boutique we saw. They'll be perfect for
walking along the cliffs of Moher. Amazing views of
the dessert trolley. I'm going to order a big fat
Limerick sunset with a Michelin-starred picnic.
Great. And